Hey guys, Jeffries here, and welcome to the third episode of Football Manager Who to Buy. Now, you might recognise this team that I'm playing as. I have literally just recorded the episode of the Basics. I've forgotten the name of the series then. Football Manager The Basics. I won't give away too much as to what happens in that episode, because depending on when these episodes get uploaded, one might go up before the other, and I don't want to reveal any spoilers. However, this is the exact Fleetwood team that I use in my The Basics series. You can see the players I've got here, like Giverin, Mambo, McMenamin, and I'm going to do the who to buy for League 2. Now, player I'd like to start off with here is Johan Gessen. He's only got a 1-star rating in League 2. And if you look at his potential, he could be a pretty good asset for any League 2 team. He, for me, I wouldn't say he's a must sign, but as a utility player up front, he is a should sign. He's cheap. You can get him on loan for the first season in League 2, as you can see what I've done. You don't necessarily have to be a high reputation club, because I managed to get him on loan in the Skrill Premier as well. So it's not like you have to be the richest club in the world or the most popular club in the world in order to sign him. And he does a job for you. He scores a few goals for you. And it's very, very encouraging to have a player who can do that. Another player who I'd say was a must sign is David James. As a goalkeeper, 43 years old, so he's not the youngest fresh chicken out there. But he only has £1,000 a week wages, and he has been pretty much my first team keeper throughout this series. So I'd say he is a good signing as well. If you want to get away from goalkeeping, defenders, you've got Luke Giverin, who can play left and right back. You can also play up the left hand side. He's always a good signing. You've got players like, where's he gone? Alex Marrow. If you can get him on loan, you might not be able to get him on loan initially because he would be at Fleetwood. But the second season, if you're still in League 2, even if you're in League 1, Alex Marrow is a definite sign. He originally starts as a right back / centre midfielder. You can see I've retrained him to play attacking midfield, and that's pretty much where he's been for my entire season. You can also get Matt Partridge on loan as a centre back / defence midfielder. He comes from Tottenham, I believe, so he's a good signing. Jody Morris, I highly recommend because his set pieces are fantastic. Let's have a look. Free kicks 11, corners 13. That's good for League 2. So definitely go for those ones if you can. We also have, say, Olifanjana. Again, not a spring chicken, 33 years old. He's a good cover. Whoops. Just try and get my mouse in the right place. He is a good covering midfielder, in case you get the old injuries. Colin McMenamin, good covering striker. He's there in case our main man, John Parkin, gets injured. Now, I said in the last episode about Seb Harris. I think it was the last episode. Seb Harris playing as a centre-back and a striker. I've managed to train Parkin to do the same in this series. And it's very... You wouldn't think of it as being a useful thing. But to have a striker who, if you end up with a centre-back being sent off, all you can do is move your striker into the centre-back position, and then you've covered that gap. You might end up losing your attacking prowess, but if you've got 2 up front, you just then go to a 1 up front. And that's much, much better than upsetting the balance of your team by having to bring off someone who's actually been having a good game, just so you can bring on a centre-back. Other midfielders. Well, Steven Schumacher, maybe. If you're a low-end League 2 team, he's a good covering player, but as harsh as it sounds, I'd say that's all really he's good for now. Not the best player out there for his position, especially if you've got a player like Marrow in your team as well. Who else we've got? Wade Elliott. Now, he, especially in the most recent episodes of The Basics, he has been a shining light in our team. He has driven us so far in terms of his assists, his goals, his general play, his positional awareness. He's 35 years old, but he gets up and down the wing like you wouldn't believe. He's only on £950 a week, which for a League 2 team is actually quite good. He can play all across the midfield, and he can play as a centre attacking midfield. So I also highly recommend. Going back to defence, you can have players like Jean-Francois, just as a covering player really. He's 27, so he's not really going to improve much. Good covering left back and centre back. You can also get Liam Hogan. Again, just a covering player. 25, doesn't look like he'll improve much. You got Mambo, who does have good potential. 22 years old. I believe he's a free transfer. £725 a week. That might lower if you're a lower reputation League 2 club. Again, I signed him for my Whitehawk team. I showed you in the episode before last, I think it was. So he will play anywhere between Skrill South and League 2. He might even be good enough for a League 1 side, although I wouldn't recommend it necessarily. Who else have we got? We have got... I'm trying to find players who I've brought in. There aren't that many actually. Stuart Murdoch, I believe I brought in. 24 years old. Defence midfielder / centre midfielder. Again, got pretty good potential. Alan Martin I brought in, I believe, as goalkeeper. So yeah, this, player wise, there's a few players you can bring in. If we then go on to the staff front, we have David Hockaday again as the head of youth development. I mentioned him in the last episode. We got Pat Willett again as the director of football. I believe he's been mentioned once or twice already. Coaches, we have Dean Riddle as our fitness coach. See his stats, got 16 for fitness, pretty good with youngsters as well. Adi Stovall as first team coach. Again, good stats, pretty good for the fitness as well. Not brilliant for youngsters, but I'm not too worried about that for a first team coach. Dave Singleton as physio. Again, pretty good. David Geddes as head scout. Good stats, 16 ability, 13 potential. And then Lee Mabry and Bobby Roberts as scouts. And again, we've already met them in the past. Stacey Beckham as goalkeeping coach. Got rated 18 for goalkeepers, which again is pretty damn good. Gary Pendry as assistant manager. I'm sure he's been mentioned before as well. John Bickers as under-18s manager, with Gareth Williams as under-18s assistant manager. So yeah, we got a good coaching setup as well. And if you go into, do it this way, and coaches, you end up with pretty much 3 stars across the board. The only ones we're lacking are tactics, defending, attacking, shooting. So yeah, maybe not 3 across the board, but the ones like strength and aerobic, keeping your players fit, that's covered quite well. Ball control is also covered well. Goalkeeping is okay. When you got David James as a goalkeeper, you're not that worried about that kind of thing. So yeah, we got pretty decent setup going on here. This isn't the greatest episode, I admit, of who to buy, because I haven't really recommended that many players. The only other players I'd recommend are the usual: Richie Borelhay, Victor Zapata, and I can't remember the third one now. Players like that though. And if you've got money to spend, I would recommend looking at maybe Portsmouth players. Players such as Adam Webster, who I could show you now. Again, I'm trying not to give away too much as to how old my team have done. Adam Webster, he's at Aldershot on loan from Portsmouth. He becomes a very, very good centre-back across the board. He can actually play left-back as well, although it's not listed on here at the moment. I'm sure if I got a scout report, it would come up saying you could play left-back as well. We go into the Portsmouth team. I think I've shown you Portsmouth before. I can't actually remember. You got players like Ben Chorley, if you want defensive cover. I believe I looked at him in the Basics series and didn't actually end up signing him. Who's missing? Jed Wallace, I was going to suggest, but he doesn't seem to be on here. Dan Butler, if you want cover in the left back position, he's good. You've also got Bonds and Gala for centre back again. Johnny Ertl, getting old now, he's 31, but he's still a good covering position for centre back, defence midfield, and centre midfield. Ashley Harris as a striker and an attacking midfielder. He's always a good shout, actually. I'm going to scout him. That's basically it, really. Sonny Bradley as well, maybe, if you want a bit more defensive cover. And yeah, Portsmouth, they have a pretty decent team. they're normally the team that I play as in League 2. So that's why I always go to them. I've gone to them before, I'm sure. And this guy here, let me see if I can pronounce his name. Farhad, I got that bit right. Rakarambwe. Yeah, he becomes something pretty special. He hasn't got the brilliant stats right now. Once you actually bring him into a team, start training him up, start giving him some coaching, he becomes exceptionally good. I managed to get a Portsmouth team from League 2 to the Championship, and he was my best player. I ended up selling him for £10.5 million to Chelsea. That gives you an idea of just how good he is. He ended up coming back to me, unfortunately, because Chelsea, he didn't really fit in with them. And that's an unfortunate thing, because he actually came back to me and started doing just as good as he was before he left. So I wouldn't say it was his fault, I'd say it was more Chelsea's fault. But yeah, you know, Portsmouth have a decent team. And if you find the right players in their team and train them up in the right way, you end up with a fantastically good squad. In the basic series, Barcham, Fogden and Ferry came first, second and third respectively in the Player of the Month award. And that is something special, to have 3 players from the same team. They also had 2 goals on the Goal of the Month, and their manager won Manager of the Month. And 2 of their players also made Young Player of the Month. So definitely, if you're in League 2, have a look at Portsmouth. Have a look at what players they've got available for loan and for transfer, and by all means seriously consider them, because they are the best players you can sign in this division. Yeah, that's basically it, guys. I'm going to show you my Fleetwood team again, so you can have one last look at them and see if there's anyone on this list that you like. Mark Roberts I would recommend as well, by the way, if you can get your hands on him, because he's not cheap, but if you look at how old he is, he's still got fantastically good stats. 16 tackling is just exceptional for a League 2 player. Really, really good. And yeah, I'm going to leave you with that, guys. So, thank you very much for watching. Next episode will be League 1, and we'll start to get maybe a few more players that you guys would recognise, but we'll concentrate more on that in the next episode. So, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, be sure to click the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to my channel, thank you guys for your continued support. And until next time, I will see you soon.